Hey, Shalom, Yasha'Allah. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushua Ba'Shem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. Peace and blessings to the fellow laborers, the Hakim, pushing his truth to the four corners of the earth in all diligence and sincerity, as well as the Akwad, listening and learning in silence as the scriptures command. Alright, so there's a whole lot going on in this earth, and you shouldn't need anybody to tell you that we are at the end of this world. And the end of this world is manifest through the signs of the times, the things that we see going on all around the earth. And one of the major prophecies that we see lining up is World War III. So news coming out, 2 Russian warships were spotted in Venezuela, and also we'll get the video. You have Russian soldiers taking part in Venezuelan national parades. So we see more and more countries aligning themselves with Russia and China, with the BRICS nations applying for that BRICS membership, because everybody is coming against the West. So this is the time for the beast to go down, and the Most High is raising up the weak. You see, he's raising up the meek of the earth, you know, these other nations that are beneath America, raising them up to take them down. It speaks about that in Joel, the 3rd chapter. You know, wake up the mighty men. You know, let those say you know, that they're weak, say they're strong, roughly paraphrasing. Right? So yeah, like I said, there's a whole lot going on, but we're just going to touch on a few things regarding the war tensions going on in the earth. So we'll start here with this TikTok. I got a few articles lined up as well, and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. Let's go.
Latin American nation of Venezuela, after conducting military exercises in the Atlantic Ocean. Moscow says the drills were conducted to show its presence in remote and important regions. Now, this comes weeks after 4 Russian naval vessels, including a nuclear-powered submarine, visited Cuba for 5 days. Now the vessels that arrived in Venezuela include a logistics ship and a frigate capable of carrying hypersonic missiles. Both of these vessels are part of Russia's Northern Fleet. The Venezuelan army has welcomed the Russian Navy, saying their stopover expresses Moscow's friendship, solidarity, and support towards the South American nation.
Today we received, together with a representation of the government of La Guaira and the mayor, these sister ships from the Russian Federation, who in their passage through the Caribbean are making a stop in our state of La Guaira to rest, to share, to express with the crews of these ships their friendship, their solidarity, and, of course, their support to Venezuela, their backing.
Speaking of Putin,
ante la tribuna presidencial, la bandera rusa. Ante ustedes, la escolta de bandera de Rusia.
Y en este paseo monumental se...
2 Russian warships dock at Venezuelan port. On July 2nd, according to Russian news agency TASS, the destroyer Admiral Gorshkov and the nuclear-powered submarine Kazan of the Russian Northern Fleet arrived at the port of La Guaira in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Also making the visit are the medium tanker Academic Passion and the Russian rescue tug Nikolai Chikar, all of which will stay in port for several days before continuing their journey in the Atlantic Ocean. During the port call, the crew of the Russian ships will have the opportunity to rest and visit local sites after the long voyage. This is part of the mission to ensure the Russian naval presence in remote areas of strategic importance. It is known that the fleet departed on May 17th with the main task of demonstrating the presence of the Russian Navy and strengthening strategic partnership in all fields. The welcoming ceremony for the Russian warships at the port of La Guaira was attended by Russian ambassador to Venezuela Sergei Melik-Bagdasarov, Admiral Mariani Mata, head of the Directorate for International Military Cooperation of the Venezuelan Ministry of Defense, and Vice Admiral Edward Centeno Mas, Deputy Commander of the Venezuelan Navy. The Russian ambassador emphasized, This is a living symbol of the strong friendship between Russia and Venezuela, demonstrating our firm desire to further strengthen the strategic partnership in all areas. He also said that sailors on the warships will participate in a civil-military parade on Venezuela's Independence Day on July 5th, demonstrating the unbreakable friendship and military cooperation between the two countries. Vice Admiral Edward Centeno Mas emphasized that the two countries will organize many activities to strengthen friendship and cooperation during the time the Russian crew is in Venezuela. Previously, the Russian Northern Fleet visited and conducted exercises in the Caribbean Sea and Cuba in early June this year, with the participation of the nuclear-powered submarine Kazan. On July 24, 2023, the Russian Navy training ship Perekop participated in the naval parade in Venezuela commemorating the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Lake Maracaibo, and was visited by Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. The visit of Russian warships to Venezuela this time is not only a symbol of friendship between the two countries but also an opportunity to strengthen strategic partnership in the current international context.
Yeah, so we see that Russia is making friends while America and the West, they steady making enemies. Okay, and when you read Ezekiel the 38th chapter, you know, it speaks about Gog, you know, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, which is Russia, being a guard to these weakened nations. You know, we saw last week that, you know, Russia finally helped the country of Niger on the west coast of Africa kick out the French and take back those uranium mines. See, they're also, you know, aligning themselves with Venezuela because, see, also Mexico and many South American countries, because see what Russia is doing, they're setting themselves up so that they can work with these nations that are in close proximity to America, so that they can build military infrastructure, move their armies, you know, provide military equipment to these certain nations, so that when the time is right, Russia has a springboard, if you will, to launch an offensive into the United States and into Europe. So once again, we see that Vladimir Putin is a master tactician of war. Okay, meanwhile, America, their armies, their war strategy is all but obsolete, and it's only a matter of time before the Lord is gonna turn this thing up to where, you know, this World War III, because look, we're already in World War III. You see stuff happening all around the earth. There's multiple wars going on at once. You know, we're already a world at war. It just hasn't been officially declared, you know, for a certain reason, but we already know why that is. You see, but the Lord is steady picking things up. All right, so now let me read this here in Luke the 21st chapter and verse 9. It says, "But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven." So the Lord Yahushua told us that a sign of his coming would be that you would see wars, you would hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation would rise against nation. You would see earthquakes all over the place. You would see famines occur. You would see pestilences, which goes into disease, and you would see fearful sights and great signs from heaven, which we've been seeing all these things. Now, we saw back in April that a total solar eclipse marked the X over America, and since then, haven't things picked up? Since then, haven't things been speeding up? You know, we see that. So the Lord is spot on with what he said. Right now, let's go here, because this, you know, as we always speak about it, Revelation 17:16, the beast shall hate the whore. Because even right now in France, they're having protests against the far right government that's looking pretty sure to come into power, and the people are protesting against that. So now NATO members are fearing that France is going to withdraw from NATO, and really it's because these European nations, you know, France isn't the only one. You know, France, Germany, Turkey, of course, Italy, you know, all these different NATO members, you know, have a sour attitude towards America. So as it is prophesied in Revelation 17-16, the beast, which the beast is a conglomeration of nations, mainly Edomite nations, which comprise the collective West, America, NATO, and the EU, right? Those nations comprise the beast system, you see. But the European side of NATO, they're going to separate from America. And if you've been following the men of the Lord, if you've been paying attention to the news, the rhetoric that's been coming out of Europe against America collectively is not good. Europe does not trust America to lead NATO. They don't believe in America. You know, they're not expecting America to help them once that Russian war threat touches Europe's doorstep. All right, and that Russian threat is right there. So right now, these European NATO members, they're more so looking out to side with Russia because they see that's what Turkey is about to do. Turkey has expressed interest to join the BRICS, to get away from NATO, to really get away from America, because, you know, Turkey sees where America is leading its allies. You know, pretty much America is setting up Europe to be sacrificed. Okay, that's really what's going on. So these nations see that and they're like, you know what, to hell with America, F it, we about to side with the winners, which are Russia and the East, the kings of the East. All right, so let's get into this a little bit. NATO member states are seriously concerned about the risk of the far right entering government in France, according to a report by Euractiv, with the French far right looking poised to win a large number of seats in parliament. NATO member states are growing worried about France's future commitment to the US-led bloc. You see that? So they're worried, okay, about France's future commitment. You see, which really, America doesn't have any commitment to these European nations, you know. Pretty much, like I said, America, you know, they're just using those European NATO nations as a buffer against their real enemies, which is Russia and China, and the nations that are under them. Worried about France's future commitment to the US-led bloc and its efforts to support Ukraine, which that Ukraine war is a failure, but they keep sending money over there because you know, they have interest in that land. The right-wing National Rally, which has repeatedly questioned the purpose of NATO and its aid to Ukraine, came out on top in the first round of France's snap election, securing 33% of the vote. President Emmanuel Macron, centrist Ensemble Bloc, only came in third with 20, and this is because people want Emmanuel Macron out of there. Okay, that right-wing government that's looking to come into France, you know, they're looking to oust Macron and also oust this you know, WEF-led agenda. Okay, because this right-wing party, you know, they're talking about, you know, cutting off the WEF and destroying, you know, that agenda is not allowed in France, it's not allowed in Europe. Okay, and also, you know, if this right wing comes into power, which that's what it's looking like, France is going to secede from NATO. So this is the big election year. All right. Also, the U.S. elections are coming up, so that's going to be crucial as well. Right. But Emmanuel Macron, he's falling out of favor with the French, and the French have always had a spirit of rebellion on them. You know, you go back to who was that? Louis, I think it was Louis the 16th or something like that, where they beheaded him. You know, when the French rose up. You know, then you had the French Revolution. you know. So the French have always had that spirit of rebellion on them, you know, like the French know when to turn up when it's time. So yeah, Emmanuel Macron looking like he's about to be out of there, you know, and they might just cut his head off. You know, we'll see what happens with that, but you know, things are chaotic in France, and it shows you that Esau's kingdom is divided. They can't agree. You got the right against the left. You got liberal versus conservative. You know, you have man versus woman. You know what I'm saying? You got you know, this and that, and you know, politics and religion. Esau, you know, Esau is just all messed up. And the scriptures say that if Satan's house be divided, it can't stand. A kingdom divided cannot stand. Two cannot walk together lest they be agreed. And Esau's kingdom is divided on all fronts. Okay, you have some in these nations that are pro-war, and you have many, the overwhelming majority, that are against the war. Okay, you have calls for a draft in Europe, which many young people are against, but you know, they're about to do it anyway. So it's clear to see that Esau, he's on the way out, and you know, he's falling from within. The second round is slated for July 7th, which is tomorrow, with the RN projected to win up to 280 seats in the National Assembly. Macron called a surprise vote after RN's earlier triumph in the European Parliament elections last month. On Thursday, Euractiv quoted unnamed diplomats as saying the French right-wingers repeated criticism of Macron's foreign policy, particularly military aid to Ukraine, were concerning a number of leading NATO allies. Okay, so yeah, NATO is in trouble. Okay, and this just shows you that NATO, look at this damn demon, man. Look at him. You see that? Esau gotta go, man. But yeah, you know, like I was saying, this just shows you that NATO, they're not even prepared to fight a war. They're not prepared to go up against Russia and China. How? They're too divided. And it shows you also that this is the revival of ancient Rome, that this is Rome. Okay, because Rome fell the same way. You know, in the 400s AD, you had many civil wars that were going on in Rome. You know, the money was devalued. The politicians couldn't agree. You know, they were divided. All right. There was an increase of immorality, sexual immorality going on. All right. So before the outside invaders came in and finished the job, Rome was already done from within. So you're seeing the same thing happen to this modern day Rome, which you know, who ran ancient Rome? It was the Edomites. And likewise today, the Edomites also run this new Rome, this new you know, Babylonian system. So hey, what was then is now. Okay, the Lord is requiring that which is past, man. So this is why the prophets are here, to make sense of all this, because if you don't know, then you're gonna be lost in the sauce trying to figure out what all of this is leading to and why it's happening. You know, like the why is a big part of it. I mean, if you got two neurons in your brain that rub together, then you already see where this is going. But the why behind it is going to give you comfort, knowing that this is the end of this system, that the Israelites, we about to get up out of here, and this devil, you know, we're about to see the fall of our enemies. Let's see this. Taiwan, the hell, Salakia. Yeah, Taiwan reports more Chinese military activity, calls for de-escalation. So Taiwan continues to be thrown up in the mix. You know, Taiwan is also a very strategic, you know, land as well. Okay, which China is, you know, claiming sovereignty over Taiwan. All right, China still regards Taiwan as part of its territory. So the fact that this, you know, U.S. influence is over there heavy, China is not really, you know, too happy about that, especially now that the U.S. is gearing up to go to war against Russia. Well, they already are at war with Russia through proxy in Ukraine, but this wider war is looking to, you know, spread out. Okay, and also Taiwan, you know, they're also big manufacturers of microchips, which you know, the West is going to need that to implement this MOTB system. So you know, this is why Taiwan is significant in world politics today. You know, but China, they continue to show military force around Taiwan, you know, making it known that, you know, we will make a move on Taiwan, you see. But just like Russia, China and you know, Xi Jinping, you know, they're just very strategic about what they're doing right now. Okay, because they understand that the big war is coming, you know, so they're not going to exhaust too many resources. You know, right now they're in a building stage. You know, they're building themselves up so that they can be prepared for war with the beast. Taiwan reported renewed Chinese military activity nearby with another combat patrol as the government called on Beijing not to escalate tensions after the seizure of a Taiwanese fishing boat. Okay, yeah, so that as well. You know, recently China, you know, they took control, they seized a Taiwanese fishing boat. Okay, which China, which views democratically governed Taiwan as its own territory, you see that, has stepped up its pressure over the past 4 years, both militarily and politically. On Tuesday, Chinese officials boarded and detained a Taiwanese fishing boat for illegally operating in the country's waters, in what a senior Taiwan official said may be an act of psychological warfare. Taiwan's defense ministry said that starting on Friday morning, it had detected 26 Chinese military aircraft, including J-16 fighters, carrying out a joint combat readiness patrol with Chinese warships. The Chinese aircraft flew into airspace to the north, center, and southern part of Taiwan. The ministry said Taiwan has detected at least 127 Chinese military aircraft operating near the island since the start of this month. So it's clear to see China is sending a message to Taiwan and also to America and the West. All right. And listen, this World War III is going to happen, and the prophets are here to tell you this before it happens. You know, they're calling for a de-escalation, but it's not biblical prophecy that things de-escalate. Now, yeah, things might die down temporarily for a little bit, but then things flare back up. You know, the scriptures speak about the birth pains, right? Now, when a woman is giving birth, you know, the closer that she gets to having a baby, the pains get worse, you know, but there are going to be times where things might, the pain might not be as intense, you know, like she might get a moment of rest and then it flares back up. So it's the same thing. But the point is, these things are not just going to go away and just stop and the world be at peace. No, that's not the will of the Lord. Amos 3:6, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city and the Lord hath not done it? Verse 7, surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Okay, so the Lord has revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets, through the Holy Spirit. All right, and the prophets are here to tell you to put off this world, to repent or die. You know, that's the message, man. Repent or die. Come back to Yahweh Bashmel Shai, so that you can have mercy and ultimately be saved from what's coming on this earth. I mean, listen, drafts are coming, wider wars. You know, Esau, he's building detention centers all around America. You know, why you think these things are happening? You think Esau is just building detention centers just because. No, he's building it because he's looking to throw your ass in there. All right. So perilous times indeed are here, and the answer, no matter what happens, is to have a relationship with Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, so that you can be able to endure through these things, and ultimately the Lord make a way for you. You see? But yeah, the Lord has revealed these things to the prophets, man. This is why you have men, calling upon the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai around the four corners of the earth, speaking the same message. Okay? Because listen, it's all through the Spirit. This right here, we can watch a little bit of this and close out.
Russian President Vladimir Putin arriving today in North Korea for the first time in more than 2 decades to meet with Kim Jong-un for the second time in 9 months. The meeting causing some international concern as U.S. National Security spokesman John Kirby says the White House is worried, quote, about the deepening relationship between these two countries. Joining us now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow and China is Going to War author, Gordon Chang. Gordon, it's always great to talk to you. If John Kirby and the White House are so worried about these two nations and their ties that they're forging forward with, then why on earth did they allow this to happen?
There's very little that we could do to stop it. And it's not just North Korea and Russia ties. That's in the context of China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran, and they're forming a durable partnership. We saw last September when Kim Jong-un went to Vladivostok to meet Putin. That was a seminal meeting because there they actually hatched an agreement where the North Koreans would supply artillery shells and short-range ballistic missiles, and it appears the Russians agreed to give the North Koreans ballistic missile technology. So really what they're doing is they're fueling each other, and that is the great concern.
Gordon, there's a lot going on the world stage, a lot of conflict, a lot of noise, if you will. China has seemed very quiet of late amidst all that. How do you read it?
Well, first of all, China's waging proxy wars. It's fueling the Russian effort in Ukraine. Russia and China are together fueling insurgencies in North Africa that look like wars. And China is firmly behind Iran's attack against Israel. So that's 3 continents. And now you have these extremely dangerous flashpoints. Taiwan, but even more belligerent is its activities in the South China Sea, especially at Second Thomas Shoal, where just a few hours ago, China injured at least 8 Philippine sailors. They rammed their ships. They used water cannon. This is getting extremely dangerous in the South China Sea.
And it's
So you heard the man. He said this is getting extremely dangerous in the South China Sea, which what did we just read? China is surrounding Taiwan with military force. So look, it's only a matter of time before the inevitable happens, before it all goes down. You see, the Lord is the one that's preparing these things to come forth. I mean, Yahweh Shah told us that these are things we would see, to manifest the end, to know that the Lord is coming back very, very soon. We close out on this scripture here, 2nd Ezra 9 in verse 2. It says, "Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand." See, so when you see these things happen, like how we telling you, this should be the time where you're gonna well understand, right? That what the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, which goes back to what? Prophecy, right? All these things were already prophesied of thousands of years ago, in ancient times up until this very day. So all those that scoff and scorn against this, come up against the man of the Lord, it's all good. You can say that we're false prophets, you can say that we dusty and we bums and this and that. It's all good, man, because guess what? When these things happen and they come to your doorstep and you don't have a remedy for this, you don't know who to call on, you can't make sense of what's going on, then you're going to understand at that point that a prophet had been among you. Then you're going to understand, you're going to well understand, as the scriptures say, right, that the Most High spake of those things, okay, which the Lord uses his men to relay the message. All right, so don't hate us. Really, you're not hating on us. You really hating on the Lord. But that's why we say it's all good, man, because we're just vessels. Like we ain't nothing. You see? But the important thing is that this word go out, that the warning be given, because like I said, when these things come, you're not gonna have an excuse. Okay, you're not gonna you know, be able to pull the wool over your eyes and pretend like you ain't know. Nah, listen, the internet is out here. Men are on the streets. You know, men are constantly sighing and crying. All right, so if you didn't take heed and get yourself right while you had the time, that's because you didn't want to. All right, hey, ultimately that's on you. You know, your own destruction is going to be on your own head, man. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close out here. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash. Call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Shalom to the elect, Kum Yasha'Allah, and a Bible Bar. Shalom.